manage your people transformation while you're dealing with your digital transformation. Open innovation is always about looking beyond what your internal capabilities. How you learn is very important, not just what you learn.
Welcome to The Shift, powered by ET Edge Insights. This is a platform where we sit with industry leaders to deliberate key issues that shape the world around us. And today we have Lalitha Indrakanti, CEO, Jaguar Land Rover Technology and Business Services India. Lalitha, welcome to ET Edge Insights.
My pleasure to be here.
Artificial intelligence, cloud computing, data analytics. It ceased to be a conversation that we could have tomorrow. It's a conversation that we're having right now. It's a conversation of today. Given the pace of rapid advancements, how do you think GCCs can leverage these technologies when it comes to innovation? How do GCCs integrate these technologies to enhance operational efficiency?
I think today's GCCs are really emerging as what I would call as a value amplifiers. Okay. And as you rightly said, these technologies are not future conversations. These technologies have been here and they are here. In fact, the way how the technology is shifted, it is no longer about a set of people who deal with technology. Erstwhile, there used to be people who used to deal with process, and there used to be a set of people, ideally the IT kind of people who would deal with technology. But I think now it is so much of the synergy between what we traditionally called as the domain expertise with what we call as the technology expertise. There are two different themes that I see evolving. One is in terms of how do you manage your people transformation while you're dealing with your digital transformation. So digital is a part of it. Earlier, we used to talk about let's bring technologies, let's bring systems, let's implement things that will change the way how we work. But I think we're also talking about now, let's change our people to work together with technology. So because the way how you utilize, for example, an AI or something like that is very different when it is used for coding versus somebody, probably a supply chain executive who's going to use AI. So it's all about how do you prepare your people to use the technology to be part of this evolution. So it is, it's a human machine synergy, I would say.
Synergy makes all the difference then.
Absolutely.
Open innovation again has been central to efforts, and it's really central to the effort of accelerating next generation technologies. How can GCCs foster a culture of open innovation, and more importantly, what benefits does it bring to the broader organization?
Open innovation is always about looking beyond what your internal capabilities are. Because when you're within the system, you are part of the problem and you're looking at it from a very inside view of the problem. And innovation takes a little different mindset. So there are two different type of innovation. One happens internally. It is an incremental innovation. But when you want to really bring solutions to the table, which is completely out of the box, I think that's where the open innovation comes in play. And it is also about the time to market, right? When you realize that you have a problem, you depends on the type of the problem. You would either develop a solution for it internally if you have the luxury of time, because it's not because your people can't do innovation, but it is about the luxury of time. How fast do you want to solve the problems? So it's about when you have problems, there are already solutions out there in the market. It could be from startups, it could be others, it could be service providers. So can we quickly adopt those solutions if you want to go faster to market? So that's a kind of a thing. As you know, we've recently announced our innovation hub in India together with Plug and Play, where we will be doing a startup scouting. Sometimes you may not even know what problems to solve. And if you find interesting solutions, which we will bring it to the table for the organization. So that's a kind of the open innovation setup that we do, which is an external focused kind of a thing. But internally, we have almost 600 engineers who also dedicate at 20% of their time exclusively on innovation efforts. That is one of the reasons why we're able to give very high quality of work to people. They stay with the organization, grow with the organization, because they're getting to work on cutting edge technology solutions, problems, the future generation of cars, etc., but also the inquisitiveness of innovation in the current generation. Our average age is 23 years. So people who are 23-year-olds would want to make innovation a part of their thinking. So we encourage that. So innovation is both internal and external for us.
So there's this increased demand for talent in tech driven roles. The reason being because tech driven roles are niche in nature. What strategies do you think GCCs can adopt to nurture skill development and foster a culture of relearning?
I think all of us are in the phase of relearning.
True.
And I would also go a step back and say, in order to do a relearning, unlearning has to be a part of the
Absolutely.
thing, right? Because learning, upskilling, reskilling, relearning, all of this, but unless you're able to unlearn some of the things, because that will form a pattern, you will not be able to have that open mindset for relearning. I think it's all about, catalyzing the shift from job centric, skill centric models into more of, within an organization, more of how do you pivot towards more of niche skills, niche things. But in that particular context, again, domain plays a very significant role. So it's not just about, today's the way how technology is evolving. It's not just about learning the technology for the sake of technology, but learning technology from your domain specific expertise. So domain can never be undermined in the process of learning, because how you learn is very important, not just what you learn.
Right. So, professional commitments, personal well being, this has been a recurring challenge. How do you think GCCs implement policies that are really supportive of work life balance? And does it really make a difference when it comes to productivity and employee retention?
It's a question that evolved in the last couple of years, right? I think COVID taught us a lot of different things. Employees' mindset is different, organization mindset is different. And today you see a lot of organizations in US and other stuff who are saying mandatorily people will have to come back to organization, come back to office. Return to office is a big topic in the industry. But I would say it is very specific to the industry you're in. It's definitely not one rule applies for all. It is, working from office has its own set of benefits. People working from home has its own set of benefits, especially in places like Bangalore, right, where you have to spend a couple of hours on road every day, those kind of things. But I think it's about balance. When I say balance, balance not always work one way in terms of just for employees. The balance also has to be towards the organization. It is about how productively you're utilizing your employees, what you're paying for, and how you get the thing out of it. So, for that, collaboration is an important aspect. In fact, surprisingly, we have a lot of graduate hires. They love to work from office because their learning is exponential. They have an ecosystem that supports. If you have questions, you don't have to wait and to send an email and wait for an answer. You can walk up to somebody and ask the answer. Similarly, I think it is all depends on people and their personal circumstances and organization and the organizational circumstances. Definitely, there is no one golden thumb rule, say work from office or work from home.
Given how things have progressed in the recent years, there's a lot of talk around diversity, inclusion, so much so that today it has become a core value in the corporate world. we work in.
Or not, depends on
Right.
how some countries are looking at it now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, how do you see GCCs playing a pivotal role in promoting diversity? And what initiatives, in your experience, have been really influential in, making the workplace a great place to be at?
I'm not saying this because I'm a woman, but I think diversity has multiple facets to it, right? It is not just the gender diversity, which often people mistake it to be. It is generational diversity. It is about regional. It is about people with different thought process. It is multiple facets, right? I don't have to quote the numbers. Organizations that have diverse leadership are a lot more productive than organizations that doesn't. So having a good diversity is just a good business decision more than anything. So is GCCs doing anything specifically to particularly with reference to diversity? I think all Indian organizations are, right? Because we realize the importance of having a diverse workforce where a different set of thoughts that come to the table, which helps us to think in a multidimensional problem. Customer are diverse, right?
Absolutely.
Even in automotive industry, your customers are diverse. It's not just one set of people driving the cars. It could be people with disabilities. It is women. It is also different regions, different countries. So it is understanding the different customers, and that kind of thought process is important also when you're doing product development. That is reason why diversity is super important. As far as policies are concerned, I don't think policies are any different, especially when you talk about either women in leadership. All service providers as well as GCCs have similar set of policies. But I think what GCCs do give is probably a lot more stable platform. Okay. So where there is an opportunity to stay longer in a set of, from your organization, you understand your organization goals better. You are not moving from a customer to customer. You're more grounded. You're more connected with your organization purpose. And that is how you see the growth of diversity is probably a little more prominent in a GCC sector than other sectors.
Right. Lalita Indrakanti, this conversation has been really insightful and an absolute pleasure to be a part of.
Thank you
Thank you
so
for
much.
taking on the time.
Thank you. My pleasure.
So that was Lalita Indrakanti on all things AI, cloud computing, tech, talent, and how these key pillars are really shaping the greater GCC journey.